Welcome back, guys, to another 4skins podcast. We have Blake Young in the building.
What's up, y'all? What's
Blake
up?
Young.
We here.
Blake Young.
We here. What's up,
Blake,
man?
Blake.
Man, thank you
Yes.
so much for being here.
I'm
man.
excited to be here.
Yeah.
Quick question. So,
Yeah.
am I one of like the 4skins? Is it like is 4 of us now? Is that a thing?
You become the fourth skin.
Yeah.
That's deep.
So together we become the 4skins.
This is so deep. I love it. I love it. This is about to be good. This is about
Oh
to be
yeah,
good.
man.
Oh,
I'm
this is
really
gonna
looking
be
forward to tonight.
Yeah, man. Come on. It's
Looks so
exciting.
good. Man, do you know everyone here?
Man, yes. I've had good memories, good food, good moments
Yeah,
here. This
food,
is
bro.
good. Literally, it was all, even like the Valentine's at the Bible study in PAX.
Yeah.
That was good for the cookies. It was fire. You already know. You know what I'm saying? Both of y'all can cook really good. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all single or not, but ladies,
Ooh.
I am telling you. You know what I'm saying? Ladies, you will have a man that you won't have to worry about the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? If you, anyways, just throw that in there. Trying to help y'all out. You know what I'm saying? I'm happily
Oh, man.
married, but anyways.
You know, Blake, if anybody knows you, they know that you are great with young people. But
thank you,
specifically, you're great with young men. Like, young men seem to look up to you.
Man,
They
sheesh.
really appreciate and they love being around you.
No pressure.
They love talking to you. They love coming up to you. But when you were a young man yourself, how was life for you? Because I'm assuming you grew up in the United States, in Los Angeles, in Tallahassee. No, not in Tallahassee.
Compton.
Compton.
Yeah, so
Wait, you actually did grow up in Compton?
yes. So
Oh,
Compton.
okay.
So there's basically Compton and Inglewood are pretty much like Block 7 and Block 8.
Right.
It's literally a road that separates both neighborhoods. So right now, my dad lives in Inglewood at this very second, still, and between Compton, Inglewood, and Long Beach, bounced around my whole life.
Okay.
Then my mom and my stepdad were like the Christian kind of godly example side that were like living it, you know, not just like, oh yeah, I'm black, so I go to church. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of there's cultural Christians,
Yeah.
and then I'd say there's like literal ones that like are about that life. And so
Yeah, true.
mom and stepdad like were like literally we're gonna go for God, and they also kind of moved us to a better town. So currently they're staying in Orange County right there. So yeah.
I see.
Orange County, isn't that like a rich area?
Yeah, it's bougie.
Oh,
it's
the
bougie.
OC.
It's bougie. Everywhere got a little bit of hood, but yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like a not so nice part of Orange County, but most of it is nice. You know, you got Disneyland, nice
Yeah,
shopping
that's what I
malls.
know
It's
about
the
Orange
real
County.
OC, all the TV shows and stuff like
Now,
that.
I want to ask you something. How unsafe is the hood? Because we see it on TV, but how unsafe? You lived in it, right?
Yeah,
There's a
TV's full of
reason-
lies.
There's
so
a
we need to
reason
know
they
the
call
truth.
it the hood.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like someone saying how unsafe is Joburg.
Okay.
You feel me? But again, there are still communities in Joburg. There's families, there's kids, there's people that live there and have lived there their whole lives and don't want to go. But there's the stories that we all hear. It's like, yo, you're gonna get jacked and murdered out of your car for your iPhone 5, not even a 7 or 8, you know, just for the 5.
iPhone
You know what
5,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So we have stories like that for Compton as well.
Yeah.
So there's beautiful parts of Compton. There's beautiful parts of the hood. There's
Okay.
communities and neighborhoods and grass and mailboxes and fences and, you know, there's that part of Compton. And then there's the streets that you got no business being on.
Right.
So it's kind of like if you're looking for trouble, you're gonna find it. But here's a funny story. So my wife is an Australian, and you know most people from other countries. You look at America, you look at the hood, you see the stories, you see the YouTubes, and of course, like anyone who's from the outside, you think the worst.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, oh man, Compton, is that safe? Should we go there? And me, I'm like, babe, calm down. It's not that bad. Compton, I'm like, girl, that's just YouTube. That's just the music videos. That's just the rappers. It's not that bad. So we ended up having an opportunity. There was like a youth conference in the hood, and this woman would turn her whole backyard into this whole like day conference for teenagers at risk. And it was actually a beautiful thing. So they invited me to speak, do the event. Whole event goes well. About 5 p.m., conference is over. Leaving, saying our goodbyes. All right, hey, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? Get in our car, just backing out, just to kind of do a 3-point turn. As soon as we back out, and then you do this one, right? So we're kind of like, we're right in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
A car doing like 60 kilometers an hour T-bones us.
Ooh.
Right on my wife's side of the car. We also had a young girl with us. There was like a girl my wife was mentoring, and she was maybe like 16 at the time. She's in the back seat. The car gets T-boned on my wife's side. Grace of God, everyone's okay. No one got hurt. But here's the crazy thing. The car that T-boned us was on the run from the police.
Wow.
So the car T-bones us, smash right there. The police come up, right there. They open up the door, guns out, get down on the ground right now, get down, like literally. But they're yelling at the car that just hit us. We found out later the dude was a convict on the run, who was like on his second strike, and he was high, and they was checking up on him, and he was evading arrest.
Yeah.
Because he knew if he went to jail, he was gonna go for life.
For life. Yeah.
So watch now, mind you, our car's here. This car just hit us. The police are behind, and their guns are out. Get down, pointing at the car. But we're behind the car, so the guns are pointing at us too, right? Here's the crazy thing. I'm like, oh my God, because I'm freaking out for my wife.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, oh my God. My wife in the car, she's doing like the ugly cry, like, like that one, like, like she's freaking out. But here's the funny thing. The young girl in the backseat is like, this is awesome. She's pulling her phone out. I'm like, oh my God. Here's the thing. The car doesn't listen to the police.
Right.
They're saying get out. The person doesn't get out. They end up backing away, pushing the police car out the way, and they end up driving off. And it turns into a 45-minute police chase. The police make us stay there. And then they had to ask us to go to the scene where they finally caught the guy to ID the body as they're bringing it into the stretcher.
They shot him?
Oh, yeah, they shot him.
Woo. That's how they do in the States,
That
man.
was me and my wife's
that's what he gets.
first and last trip to Compton. And so yeah, listen, I still stand by it. It's not as bad as it looks.
Man, that sounds
It's not
bad.
as
Like,
but it was pretty
sounds
active. It was
bad.
fun. It was a fun day.
Wait a minute,
It was a fun day.
have you ever been a victim of police brutality?
Personally, no. I've been profiled.
Okay.
I was at a party once, and there was a shooting at the party, and I was walking away, and because of my tattoos, they thought that I might be gang related, because a lot of times gangs will have certain insignias or tattoos that kind of mark you as you're one of those. You're from this crew, or you're from that crew, stuff like that. So I was profiled once. So we were leaving the party, and they pull up, and they're like, "Hey, stop right there!" And they looked me over and things like that. So no, that happened, but actually in my life, I personally have not been a victim of, say, police brutality or a lot of the stuff that's very sensitive topics right now, going on in America, and, Black Lives Matter, all the different things that are going on. So, yeah.
A lot of ugliness right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been there, but I guess we're seeing more of it on TV.
Definitely.
How do you feel about George Floyd? How do you feel about what's happening, the riots that are going on in the United States?
Man, it's tough. I mean, because right now it's fresh because of the internet.
Right.
But remember, from Rodney King in 1991, who got beat.
Yeah, I remember that story.
You know what I'm saying?
Didn't he get like millions of dollars from the LAPD?
He got something, but yeah, it was like 4 cops in the alleyway just beat the mess out of this dude. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, like he was a drug addict, and he was, he had some stuff that brought him to that point. But yeah, that was tragic. That was horrific. It shouldn't have happened, and it sparked riots in the city. F the police, NWA, all this kind of stuff that happened. But even prior to that, there was the Watts riots in the 80s. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, I've read about
this. Actually, it's not a new thing. It's just viral now. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? But it's been a part of culture. But hear me. So hear me. Is it wrong? Yes. Does it need to be dealt with? Yes. Does there need to be better training and accountability? And does there need to be a great standard for our police and our forces to be held to? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know some amazing police officers that saved my life, that saved family's life. There's a lot of good going on. The sad thing is only the bad goes viral.
Right.
Only the bad gets publicized.
Yeah.
My dad, it was a black man in the 70s, paid his way to go to Stanford University in the middle of a more racist era. Went to one of the most prestigious colleges in the United States. And so growing up, we never were really allowed to play the race card.
Okay.
So I have a slightly different worldview, because yes, there's the wrong that's going on, but I feel like there's a big cultural imbalance. And as much as we want to talk about police brutality, we also have to talk about black accountability.
Ooh.
At the end of the day,
Come on.
if God is real, if I can do something with my life by my hard work, by my work ethic, and by my character.
Yeah.
If Booker T. Washington, who literally was he was pre-civil rights, post the Emancipation Proclamation. So like, Booker T. Washington was in the era where blacks had just been made free, but culturally still were not free. He was pre-Martin Luther King, built the university.
He was Jim Crow era, wasn't he?
Bro, he was pre-Jim Crow. He was fresh
Right,
out of
yeah,
slavery.
yeah,
He
that's
was a
actually
former
true.
slave.
He was.
So Jim Crow hadn't even really got there yet. So you're talking about like some of the most prestigious black, W.E.B. Du Bois, Thurgood Marshall, all these different people are examples of black excellence, yet they didn't use their culture as a scapegoat for what they couldn't be. And their eras were much more racist than the now era is. So that's why when I talk to people, I try to bring a little bit of balance to it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like black people are playing a little bit too much of the victim card,
Right.
and blaming the white man for their issues or their problems, when actually some of it is just, bro, stop listening to foolishness in your rap music. Let's get a job and do something with our lives. So I feel like there's a bit of an imbalance going on sometimes culturally. So anyways, we could go as deep or as shallow into that as you want.
There's two things there. Number one, I'm glad you brought up Booker T. Washington. I'm personally a fan of his. One of the things he actually said, and this is actually funny when I look at today's culture, is he warned people about those who find racial oppression profitable. That there are going to be those who are going to push for racial inequality because it's profitable for them to keep using the race card. It's profitable.
Totally.
Without race, they don't have jobs. I mean, think about all of those gender professors in universities now. If there was not a real race issue, none of them would actually have jobs. And he actually warned us about people like that. So I'm glad you actually brought him up.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, see, I feel like, here's my honest thought. Being a former hip hop artist, being from LA, being from the hood, formerly being a gang member myself.
Yeah.
So I've been on all sides. I was gang banging, wearing blue bandana. What's up there, cuz? Like, I was doing all that.
Yeah.
And then I also was on the honor roll and did good in school and was around Christian families and homes and VeggieTales and DC Talk and So I've seen the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that I see, black people are not so much a victim of racism as they are a victim of what I would call cultureism.
Okay.
So for example,
Oh, you in trouble now.
So yeah, no, trust me.
Let's talk about it.
But for example, so I was dropping off someone. Is it extension 2 that's just across from CBD? Just right there, extension 2, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's phase 2.
Phase 2.
2,
Sorry,
yeah.
phase 2. Just right, you got Square Mart and then boom, right there. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah, phase 2.
So right there in phase 2, someone attempted to jack me and my wife's car.
Okay.
While we were in it, like literally just pulled up. We were right at the turn, right about to hit the CBD. We just dropped somebody off.
Yeah.
They tried to jack our car, and then actually 2 months later, on that same street, 3 of our kids from our youth ministry got jacked for their phones. They had a girl with them, and the dudes beat the mess out of these young teenage boys as they protected the girl over some phones in the same street. So guess what? If I'm driving down that street at night, and I see someone walking on that road with
You're
the
gonna
hood
get
up, guess
suspicious.
what? I'm looking around. I lock my doors.
Facts.
I do all that kind
Facts.
of stuff. I don't care who you could be a grandmama home from church, or you could be a real thug up to no good.
Yeah.
But if I see what looks like familiar circumstances to what has caused me harm, I'm gonna make a judgment call.
Right.
Now, here's what could happen. It could be a brother who's just he had a big day. He's coming home from work. He had a full-on day, and maybe it was raining, so he's got his hoodie on. And he sees me, some light-skinned foreigner in my car, lock the doors, and he could be like, "Look at this guy. Look at this white guy."
Right.
You know.
Right.
So what happens is, I've had well-meaning people, white, black, Chinese, Indian, whoever, and sometimes if you see a dude that looks like he's a thug, how his dress and his demeanor, they might grab their bag a little bit.
Yeah.
They might be a little bit more cautious. And hear me, it's sad, but that brother might be like, "Look at them, they racist. They're holding their purse because I'm walking by."
Right, but there's a
Hating
reference
on the
point
black
in
man.
their
Reference
minds.
point, yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's not a race issue. That's a culture issue.
Come on.
So that's what I feel. And to think about it, as black people, we are the only people group that spends billions of dollars on music that glorifies violence.
Yeah.
What other genre or people group or race or community consumes as much content as black people do? That you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you, but don't you think America has a general problem with celebrity worship? Don't you think
Oh,
Americans generally just have that issue?
I mean, there are issues everywhere, but yeah, I mean, no, I mean, listen, America is just better at televising all their issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll see you'll see there's a TV show about every issue in America. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
There's a whole series, there's a song, there's an album about it. We're good at marketing our problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. So that's where I feel like that's got to be the balance. Like, think about it. Back in the 70s and the 80s, pre the wave of hip hop and culture that glorified negativity, black people were doing well.
Yeah.
Communities were getting stronger. Black Wall Street, different things where we were prosperous, we were strong, we were doing good. You see what I'm saying? And then what happened? The moment we put knuckleheads on the pedestal, the moment we promoted sexuality in our music, that's another thing.
Yeah.
We're one of the few genres, we're one of the few demographics where we mass purchase music that celebrates, sex and promiscuity. So it led to a fatherless generation. And then that kid, those kids with daddy issues, listen to more gangster rap.
Yeah.
And so it just perpetuates. So now it's kids raising kids who've raised kids who now got kids. And the culture slowly has degraded because we've marketed issues. And now some people can talk about, oh yeah, but really it's the white men behind the record labels and all this kind of stuff. And we could go there.
Yeah, I don't buy that argument. It just doesn't.
But at the end of the day, we have always had a cultural disadvantage. But how are black people doing worse in America now, even though America is less racist than it was, from Jim Crow era till now? Think about it. Like, if anything, we should have been doing worse then and better now.
Yeah.
We have more opportunities. You can go on the internet and do anything you want to do. You can learn anything you want to learn now.
That's true.
And there's no hindrances to education. Whereas in slavery, so I'm actually a fourth generation from the plantation. Like, my family, they can trace back our ancestors. The reason why I'm light-skinned is because of an Irish slave owner
Okay.
that, slept with their slaves.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
So how from there till now has culture gotten worse? Then we weren't allowed to read on the plantations because they didn't want us to be smart.
Yeah.
Till now, you got Google, you got everything. You get what I'm saying? And kids, they can memorize Lil Wayne, but they can't memorize, a class of
Thomas will
Pastor
actually
Blake,
talk
can I
about
jump in there? Tell us more about this violence and rapping about violence. Is it a form of venting? Because I talked to somebody some time ago. They said that the reason why South Africa is in the state that it is right now is because they never had a war. They had never really fought. People were angry and wanted to express that. And sometimes when there's that energy that was never expressed, people find channels to release it. So what is it about this gangster rapping? Was there something that they're trying to release? And why is it that there's a lot of violence in rap?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one to answer. Because I feel like what maybe started as genuine expression has now become, okay, what's marketable? Like, culturally, it's cool to rap about it. It sells. That's the sad reality. If you make good quality content that's positive, that's uplifting, that's got good morals, and then you got your WAP or your you know what I'm saying, or your your kill it, shoot it, all this kind of stuff. What sells? What's on the charts? You know what I'm saying? So that's the sad reality, is we have a culture where negativity is profitable. And so again, as a young kid going home from school, dad was at work, I was looking for role models. We'd go home, open up the door, and before homework, I'd put on BET for hours.
Right.
And just watch music video after music video. And it was 20-inch rims and gold chain. And so think about it. That's what you're saturated. So I would think about, I was at school for 10 hours a day. Then I'd watch 2 to 3 hours of music videos before homework. and maybe there was a "Hey son, how's your day?" for maybe 10 minutes. Let's be real. You see what I'm saying? Maybe you had a family where you guys sat around the dinner table. Most of us didn't. And then you go home and you rinse and repeat. So what do you think we're going to idolize?
Yeah.
So then that becomes the music that you want to make as well. That becomes what you want to do. So that's why for me, the grace of God was great role models from the church, great, men of God that helped kind of deposit in me what I wasn't getting from my home life. And, so it's a tough thing, so music could have been starting as a vent, as a voice, as a thing. But now it's the culture.
Yeah.
You see it, you do it. The big homie does it. Your cousin, your uncle, everyone listen to it. So the sad thing is you got little kids, and they're listening to this gangster rap and this horrible content. So then you just create another generation that's stuck on the same stuff. So, yeah.
Do you think that the culture, the way it's being perpetuated, the way the music is, the way the videos are, the way we objectify women, do you think that is in some ways degrading the Black community in America?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You disagree?
I don't disagree. I feel like it's deeper than that.
Okay.
It's beyond even just the culture. Because one of the things I found out when I was reading a lot of Thomas Sowell's books, I don't know if you're familiar with Thomas Sowell.
He's amazing.
The teen pregnancy rate today among African American girls today is higher than what it was in slavery when they were being raped.
Mm-hmm.
It's been rising per decade.
Okay.
And I think beyond the culture, beyond the music itself, there's a perpetuation of what you spoke about, which I think is more problematic, which is the lack of accountability. I think that plays a bigger role than the music.
Okay.
And let me explain myself. White teenagers consume hip hop a lot, almost as much as black. Yet the results are different. The same can even be said about Asian communities. They love rap music. Yeah. But you don't see the same results in other communities. Because they are actually capable of separating the music from the reality of their own lives.
That's a powerful statement.
Yeah. And for some reason, black kids are taught not to do that.
Yeah.
Well, it's tough because black kids see the music as their reality. Other races will hear it and look at it as entertainment. Like I can go watch Avengers.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm the Hulk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I like Thor. He's awesome. But I don't. So I'm inspired or I'm entertained by him, but I don't identify with him.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So the sad thing is we created music where black people said, "Oh, that's me," but it's not you. That's what a label and a business and an artist has put out. And now, young princess, you think that's what the standard of beauty is. You see what I'm saying? Right, so that's the sad thing is, in my age, in high school, it's getting hot in here. Let's take off all our clothes. Nelly and Destiny's Child and all this kind of stuff. And that was this thing. And, folks singing along to it right now in their heads. But the point is, that's what we permeated. So then that's what we became. That's what was portrayed. And then that's what was celebrated. You see? So it's tough where culture, yes. Then, of course, think about where does accountability come from? It comes from the family.
Yeah.
It comes from the marriages. It comes from the fathers.
Yeah.
You see, but here's the funny thing. This is because I was talking to my dad about this because he's still in America. He's in the thick of it right now. And, of course, obviously, in America, they blamed still racism and, we were still waiting for our reparations and culture and white supremacy and white privilege and all this kind of stuff. But then I talked to my dad and I said, but Dad, I'm in Botswana, which for any black American, we live in Wakanda right now. This is, no, true story. This Botswana, true story, but Botswana is the African American dream. Black president.
Yeah.
Black leadership.
Yeah.
Black everything. There's been no apartheid here. No bloody transition of power.
No.
This nation has been literally curated by God himself to never have dealt with the social ills that are just one border away.
Yeah.
The deconstruction of Zimbabwe. The racial tension and the bloodshed of, you know what I'm saying,
South
of South Africa.
Yeah.
You know, even the breakdown of Zambia. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's all like Botswana's just here, untouched. Never having dealt with any, you know what I'm saying? This peaceful, beautiful nation that was a cow town, then boom, diamonds are discovered. Economy changes overnight. Like, this nation is a model of what any African American would dream of.
Yeah.
As far as the society they wish they could have grown up in. Yet, what's the unemployment rate in Botswana?
It's crazy.
About the same it is in America.
Yeah.
What's the number one thing medically killing people of color in Botswana?
It's AIDS.
Same thing killing people of color since the 70s in America. What's the second thing killing, number one killer? Drugs. Same thing killing black folk in America. What's one of the issues? Promiscuity, rape, gender-based violence in Botswana. Same thing going on in black communities in America. So let this sink in for a second.
Yeah.
What's Botswana's excuse? See, so I was trying to get my dad to understand this is a culture that black people have to deal with that possibly we brought over on the slave ships with us, and we just decided to blame the white man for it in America.
Yeah.
But see, here's what I feel. If black people as a whole had one big issue or one big addiction, we're addicted to pleasure and gratification.
And all men?
You say again?
And all men addicted to those? Like, it's not actually a black thing. Let it be a human thing?
To a certain degree, but think about it. Look at what we've traded. Look at what we've given away. Even when you look at culture, when you look at society, you know, if people wanted to say, oh, what was the biggest thing you could blame the white man for? You could maybe say it's an addiction to power. I mean, look at what England was able to accomplish. Look at what all these different, countries, like, who hasn't been influenced by England?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, from America to Canada to all over the world. Like, so, power, conquest, expansion, what they brought with them. They brought innovation, they brought advancement. But so what happened? African people, we've always traded away our land, our people, our things for what? For alcohol, for pleasure, for experiences, for things. And again, even in our music, our culture, our society, we gratify pleasure above all.
Yeah.
Whether it's sexuality, gold, jewels, diamonds. Again, you got Steve Jobs and, you know what I'm saying, and Bill Gates will walk into a room wearing New Balances and $20 pair of jeans, and they're worth billions. And then at that same basketball game, you got Migos, who are only maybe worth a couple million, but they got diamonds on everything.
Right.
It's a poverty mentality where we have to show off the little bit that we don't even have. And we have to pursue pleasure at any cost. Whereas other generations culturally have learned how to celebrate delayed gratification.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've never met a broke Asian.
Neither have I, actually.
I've never met a broke
to be
Indian.
honest.
Never met a broke Jew.
Yeah, oh,
You know what I'm saying?
definitely that.
Never met a broke Muslim.
never
You know what I'm
met a broke
saying?
Jew.
Never met a broke. Because
Yeah.
again, the what they've been able to do as far as legacy, as far as inheritance, again, it's a cultural thing, what they've put on a pedestal.
Yeah.
So yeah, the kids may listen to a little bit of hip hop, but then they spend all day in the books.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Doing their classes and family businesses, legacy and inheritance. We're busy, making our kids take out loans just to pay cows to get marriages, but other cultures are giving their kids businesses and jobs and families and inheritance. So it's like, black people, we've got to realize that this is a cultural spirit that we've carried with us for generations.
Yeah.
Where we keep starting over. Every generation has to keep going from the base level just to finally scratch themselves up to the top so they can flex. And their kids start right back at the base level. Where are we passing down? Where's the inheritance that we're giving? So it's like, so again, it's a spiritual thing. It's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
That's why at the end of the day, I feel like only God can save African people. Like, only God can save anyone. It doesn't matter
That's true.
what skin color you're in.
Yeah.
But it's just largely the topic we've kind of touched on is it's a culture, it's a spirit issue where we keep on starting over. Yeah.
Blake, I'm going to pin you down on this one. Would you say that the African man or just the African American and every black man, they do not have an excuse in terms of economy, that the things that the colonizers did to Africans and black people and other races, they put us at a disadvantage in terms of economic advancements, such that we are now at a deficit. And even if we try to consolidate and push and try to make something of ourselves, we're always going to be at a disadvantage because of the event that took place in history.
Well, see, that's the large thought. And that thought, I feel, is the greatest disadvantage. And here's what I mean by that. If you grow up and tell a young kid that, hey, no matter how hard you work, because of the color of your skin, you're never going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
It's already over for him.
It's done.
Well, that young guy is going to just grow up and be like, well, shoot, dang, I might as well just live it up.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the white man's holding me down, right? So, I mean, no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to be able to succeed. No matter what I do, I'll never be able to be as good as them, so why bother? So we've created this victim mentality that just gives up prematurely. Now, hear me. Listen, we don't have time to talk about, okay, well, what did they do and did they disadvantage? Listen, a lot of the injustices are true. I'm not here to debate the injustice. But here's the one thing I do know. If my God is real, if the Bible is true, then all I need to do with my life is work hard, honor God, love my fellow man, and make this world a better place. Yeah. And pass that down to my kids without making any excuses. And I can make the next generation better than this one.
Come on.
Regardless of the playing field, regardless of who started where,
yeah.
regardless of how many cards you were dealt or I was dealt. Or listen, that's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, I got to work with what God gave me and not make excuses.
Yeah.
But again, when you got Strive, you know what I mean? Like you got phenomenal men that have made something from nothing.
Yeah.
The common denominator is always dedication, hard work, and not someone who was not willing to make excuses. You see what I'm saying?
Get the work done.
Exactly.
Get the work done.
And here's the funny thing. You know what? One of the biggest issues for us is pride. Pride. Because watch this.
Okay.
When you actually look back at some of the communities, let's take the Indian community. How did they come into Botswana? It started with spices. They started with fabric. They started, with humble businesses, humble shops. But they worked that shop to the bone.
Yeah.
And they were able to build something and give something to. I met an Indian brother like a year ago. He's been working in a mattress store for 30 years. He's got an Omang now. He's a citizen. And he was able to build a business. Now his kids are in university, and now they're studying engineering, and they're going to come back and build that family business and take it to a whole nother level.
Legacy.
Like it's a thing. Like sometimes I think black people, we've thought too much is beneath us, so we haven't been willing to actually be humble enough. You see what I'm saying? Like, sadly, we've got one of the highest unemployment rates right now in Botswana among people with degrees. You see what I'm saying?
Where does the church come in all of this? What is the role of the church in society? One would say that the church is supposed to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
And that people run towards the church for economic reasons.
Yeah.
Maybe they got health issues.
Yeah.
They're looking for healing from God.
Yeah.
What do you think the role of the church should be? And do you think the church is still relevant today?
100%. It's the most relevant thing at the end of the day.
Okay.
The word of God says very clearly, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, pray, and repent of their sinful ways, God says, I will hear from heaven, I will forgive them of their sin, and I will heal their land. At the end of the day, I feel like God is the only thing that's relevant in today's culture. And so the thing is, as the church, we've got to get back on our job to remind people of who they are before. See, remember, at the end of the day, we're citizens of the kingdom before we're citizens of wherever place we come from.
Okay.
Before you put on Botswana skin, before you said I am from Botswana, before we said we are Botswana, but before any of that, God said, before you were born, I knew you. I predestined you. I had a plan. I had a purpose. You see, it's Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you a hope in the future. These were all things God prescribed to us before we took on our skin, which means that at the end of the day, we've got to stop blaming culture and realize these are problems of the kingdom.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I feel for us, for a young black man who wants to blame the white man for his issues, who wants to blame culture for his problems, this young man needs to, number one, humble himself, fall in love with Jesus, understand diligence, hard work, integrity, morals, character, peace. You see what I'm saying? Learn how to get on his knees and pray and not just strive and try to do it the corruption way or you do this, well, you give me the tender here, or you hustle, let's, you know what I'm saying? Like we got all these back doors that we think we need to go through. But if I can understand it, you know what? Since Bible times, the children of Israel were at a disadvantage. They were enslaved for 400 years.
Yeah.
They had cultural issues. They dealt with racism. They dealt with oppression. The Israelites were conquered literally by everyone at some point in time. But still, this was God's chosen people. They were able to bounce back every single time. But what was the key? They had to always turn back to God.
Yeah.
Every time they turned away from God, the land suffered, the people suffered, everything suffered. Every time they humbled themselves and turned back to God, the land was blessed, the people were blessed, the city was blessed, the kingdom was blessed. So that's a prototype in Scripture that shows us, okay, if we are an oppressed, beaten down, struggling people, we have here a model to follow. Let's turn our lives back towards God and actually make something of ourselves.
Yeah.
How many stories do we see every single day of people in this nation starting businesses from scratch? I saw there was a Facebook post. One young girl graduated from GC University, was struggling, was on an attachment, had an internship that wasn't even paying her anything. She had a kid and says, I'm willing to work. She made herself a little flyer, started a cleaning business. She's like, I'll clean, I'll fold clothes, I'll do whatever. Her post went viral. That chick's making 12,000, 13,000 pula a month right now because she was humble enough to do some laundry.
Right.
Don't sit here and tell me what we can't do or what we can't be. But I think it takes a maturity that can only come from God sometimes to realize what you need to do. See, God can help me focus on what I can do, where sometimes society makes us obsess on what we can't do. You know what I mean?
I really like that, Pastor Blake. And just to jump onto that, I've always wondered why there's this big question of the relevance of church in society. And I, for one, I believe in serving God in unconventional manner. And God is to permeate every area of our lives. And it's not even about miracles and what I can get from God. Sometimes we get trapped into a culture of going to church because we need something from God. But he needs to be just living and existing with us, a co-worker with us. So serving God in unconventional manner, let's take God out of the confinement of a church building. And there's this mentality that you talked of, the way people just want to be rich. But we need to ask ourselves, why do you want to be rich? What are you going to accomplish with all that wealth? Why do you want to become a millionaire? Do you know how dangerous to be a millionaire is? You could die. You could perish.
I get you.
Hey, so but it is this thing from school, from high school to university, people want to be rich. People want to be billionaires. But why? What is it that you're trying to accomplish in life? And what brings true fulfillment? And I think these are some of the questions that even the kingdom and Jesus he answers, because true fulfillment is not found in materialistic things. But true fulfillment is found in serving our purpose in God. So I really like what you mentioned about that. And
Yeah.
I don't know. You're doing something. So, and but I want to hit on that one that a lot of people, we want to be rich, but it has no direction. It just and it goes back to what you said earlier, that we want to enjoy pleasure and we want to enjoy life, basically. So
it's the truth. The sad thing is, in a way, the church became the same thing the music videos were. Showing off riches, showing off a good life.
Yeah.
Do this and it's going to be cake and cookies and, you know, look at my Mercedes Benz in Jesus' name and look at all this stuff. And we sold this kind of, this gospel that promotes excessiveness and lures you in with money and all this stuff as a selling point. But at the end of the day, God said, go into all the world and do what? Make disciples.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like this, you know, and again, it says, if anyone wants to follow me, let him do what? Number one first, deny himself. Then take up his cross, then follow me.
Yeah.
See, self-denial is one of the first prerequisites that Jesus portrayed if you really wanted to be one of his followers. But like you said, a lot of the gospel and some of the stuff we see culturally is self-gratification. No, follow Jesus and you'll get everything you want. He'll bless you. Double, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, we do all this stuff. And trust me, and I've sang the song and I get it. But and hear me, no, we're not. And then some people swing the pendulum too far that God wants. Oh no, you know, you're supposed to be broke and poor and holy and never smile and be deep and spiritual and only that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's always this extreme. It's either excessive prosperity and it's a spiritual lottery machine. You know, just spin the wheel and say in Jesus' name and get your $1 million, or it's no fun, no joy, it's death and just accept God and die. You know what I'm saying? Like it's neither of those things.
Yeah.
It's such a doom and
You see
gloom
what I'm saying?
message that you put it
Like,
that.
you get what I'm saying? But it's supposed to, there's a balance. God said, listen, deny yourself, take up your cross, follow me. But then he also talked about abundance and life. But he said, anyone who gives up home, lands, father, mother, who experiences persecutions in my name, you will be blessed. You will get these things back 100-fold and in the life to come. So yes, God talked about blessing, but it was never away from sacrifice. And so that's where we've got to bring balance back to it. You know what I'm saying? I can't sell you some Mickey Mouse ice cream gospel.
Yeah.
There's a cost, but there's fulfillment on the other side. The best metaphor I can tell people when they say, well, Blake, why do we got to have rules? Why do we got to have restrictions? Why can't I do that? And I say, well, listen, you know, isn't driving a car better than walking everywhere?
Yeah.
And everyone would immediately say yes. So everyone would want a car versus walking in combis. But think about it. To drive a car, guess what? You had to learn rules. You had to learn restrictions. You can be free. See, if you don't want to drive, you can run as fast as you want. But when you want to get in a car, there's rules to the road. There's restrictions. There's things you can and can't do. You had to pass a test. You had to pay a price. You had to sit in lines. You had to go through a serious process in order to win the freedom of driving. But everyone would agree the freedom of getting in a car and driving somewhere is worth the price. That is the greatest thing I can explain to people about the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Come on.
Yes, there are some rules. Yes, there's some restrictions. Yes, I don't sleep with every chick I see. There's things I tell myself no. I don't gratify my flesh. There's things I don't do. There's places I don't go. But on the other side of it, I have been given a freedom and an access and a mobility and a momentum that I never could have gotten had I just wanted to be free and live my own life.
Yeah.
So my thing is fine. You want to be free? Walk. You know what I'm saying? You want to learn some restrictions? You want to pass some tests? Then you get to drive.
Yeah.
You decide what you want to do. And spiritually, there's a lot of people walking that are afraid of God telling them no to some stuff. But on the other side of that, there's a peace, there's a joy that I can't put a price on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I guess it's about, how do we portray this? How do we make a life of devotion exciting and amazing, and how do we show the beauty of it without trying to oversell it or diminish that there is a cost incurred?
I think you do that very well. Or I should say, I think Kingdom City does that very well.
We're trying, man. We're trying.
I think for those who don't know, you are a pastor. if that wasn't clear, you are a pastor of Kingdom City, Botswana.
We'll put that in the title when we upload
Yeah,
the
put
video.
that down there somewhere.
Make sure they know what's up.
Kingdom City, Botswana. And I love how open and how free people are when they walk into that building. I think the minute they set eyes on you, and they see your tattoos,
Oh my God.
and they see your hair,
Lord
and they
Jesus.
see Leo's hair, Leo
Man,
Tao.
I know. I mean, shout out,
They
man.
see, Leo. They see
Yeah.
Leo's hair,
His hair looking
yeah.
crazy.
and they
these
see
days.
how people are acting.
Yeah.
It don't look like church from outside, but when you get inside, it's warm.
Yeah.
You guys love each other, and there's camaraderie there. We spoke about that yesterday. There's a brotherhood in there. You guys kind of look out for each other. How did it get like that? How did it become so different to what we know church to be? Because there are so many different churches out here.
Yeah, man. It was honestly shown to us. So a big shout out to Pastor Mark and Jemima, our founders. But if anybody
Mark.
doesn't know, our church was founded in a Starbucks cafe in Malaysia in 2006 with a few people in a coffee shop that were just crazy in Malaysia, in a Muslim nation. People that were just in a place where people were just crazy enough to believe that God could do something. And the family that was created from that coffee shop to a house, from that house to a university lecture hall, from that lecture hall to a warehouse in an industrial neighborhood, from that industrial neighborhood to Perth, Australia, from Australia to Singapore, from Singapore to, Cambodia, from Cambodia to Botswana, from Botswana to Dubai, from Dubai to London. And so this thing has been this organic process. So we're in like 60 something countries now, and it's been this crazy journey of just organic love. But for me, I walked in, and it was actually through meeting my wife and heading to Australia to get the blessing on our marriage. And that's where I first met Pastor Mark 10 years ago.
Okay.
And it blew my mind. Because, again, I grew up in church. Literally, they cut the umbilical cord, put a little itchy suit on me, spanked my butt, and sat me on the front row of a church. So, again, culturally, church was there. But it wasn't until walking into Kingdom City, and I looked around the room, and I saw every age, every race, every color, every background, every walk of life.
Come on.
And that was the first time in my life I said, God, I think this is what heaven's going to look like one day. Because I'm a typical kid. I'd grown up in black churches and, gospel this and that. And it was just, I'd seen a very limited worldview, or I'd seen a very performance-oriented church where it was all about the suit that you wore on a Sunday and not the life you lived on Monday.
Yeah.
And so I walked away from God. I was in sin. I grew up in a church home. Again, like I said, I had parents that were in ministry. I had a radical encounter with God when I was 12. But at the same time, I didn't feel what I felt to be loved for who I was and not for what I could do until I walked into Kingdom City. Many men of God and many ministries did make certain deposits in me along the way, but I never saw a holistic, healthy ministry from start to finish until I walked into Kingdom City. Shout out to the Los Angeles Dream Center, an amazing church in downtown LA that did a free live-in 365-day rehab.
Okay.
So I did 13 months in a drug rehab. I was an idiot, dropped out of university, was about to die.
Yeah.
And this ministry literally allowed me to pick myself up off the ground, gave me a scholarship to Bible college. So there's many amazing ministries doing phenomenal stuff. So Tommy Matthew Barnett, the LA Dream Center, I love you guys so much. That place saved my life and helped me believe in God again.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I walked into Kingdom City that I learned how to believe in church again. I think that's a difference. A lot of people believe in God, but they don't believe in church.
Yeah.
Because of their experiences, because of their history,
Church
because of their
hurt.
stuff.
It's real.
Yeah.
The thing is,
It's the
I
thing.
actually, I'll be controversial. I actually think church culture is quite toxic.
Okay.
I'll be frank. Because, even me, the first time I started going to a church, one of the things I noticed is there's a specific way people talk. There's a way they sound. You just so much as tell them what kind of music you like. You get the side eye, like there's something wrong with you. I think that is easily the most toxic element of church culture. That it's almost as if there's a voice they use on Sundays that's just for that day.
Well, I would say this. Hear me. What I'd say is some church culture.
Yeah, I'm generalizing, but I don't.
No,
mean
I
every
get it.
church.
That's the thing is though, you represent the majority of this nation. And what people have done is they've blanket statemented how they feel about church. So the moment you say any church, people are like, oh yeah, I know what you're about. And so they've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. But it is what I encourage people is, and anybody out there, like if you've had a bad experience in church, please treat it the same way like you've had a bad experience at a restaurant. You see what I'm saying? If we have a bad experience at a restaurant, we don't quit food. I'm never eating again.
I'm not gonna eat again.
I'm never gonna. What do? We just find a better restaurant.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people have taken that mentality to church, and there are some people that have vowed they will never set foot into any church again because of the experience they had in a church. And that to me is heartbreaking when not every church is the same.
Yeah.
Just like not every restaurant's the same. You can go to the same restaurant in a franchise and find one ran different than the other. It depends on who. It depends on what the culture in the building of the manager, the staff, the team, the concierge, your kitchen, your waiters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a church culture is comprised of the people that make up that church. And so the same way, if we can give people a chance, we got to give church a chance. And that's where if you try hard enough. There's some great ministries out there. There's some phenomenal churches in Botswana.
Yeah.
We're one of them. And I pray that everyone can at least have that experience at some point in their life.
There's an ongoing issue that we keep talking about. And that is when two people want to get married,
Yay.
they can't afford it.
Yeah.
They can't afford the
Oh my
cows they need
Why
to
you
get
gonna get
married.
me on this topic, man? Why you getting me started on this? Yeah. Listen.
So what are your thoughts on that? I'm sure
You
you
were
are a
trending
pastor.
for a while actually because of this.
Oh my gosh.
You,
Yeah.
you are a
Lobola,
pastor of
Bahadi,
multiple people who want to get
Paklo.
married.
Like, can you on the voice concerning this issue?
Oh man.
On the voice.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Listen. After speaking with tribal leaders, seasoned ministers, families historically, and young people that are relevant to this culture, here's what I won't do. I won't say Lobola and Bahadi is totally wrong and should be abolished completely, but I will say it needs to be redeemed. And if you can't redeem it, it needs to be thrown out. And so this is the balance. Anyone will tell you what the marriage culture is now is actually a perversion of what it originally was. It was beautiful.
Right.
It was honoring.
Yeah.
It was generous. It was selfless. It built families. It built culture. And it actually gave your children a leg up in life. But what's happened? Because of the family dynamic degrading, because of fatherlessness, because of generational wealth deteriorating from our Botswana people, the price tag has gone up. The demand has gone up. So where once uncles and fathers would get around a young man and not only give him enough cows to cover the fee, but they would also give him an abundance to help him actually start a leg up in life.
Yeah.
And remember, this was developed during a farming culture where for the other family to lose an able-bodied, strong daughter was to potentially bankrupt a farm, right? So it was a token of honor to say, hey, listen, your family structure is about to take a big hit because you're losing a great daughter. And we're about to take a big upgrade because we're gaining your daughter.
Yeah.
So to say thank you and to compensate the loss you're about to incur, we want to honor your family's sacrifice with this gift, with this token of honor and generosity. That was what it was originally about.
Yeah.
It is now a total perversion just to get that vacation, that TV, that car, that wherever. You see what I'm saying? And the thing is, remember, you got a young man who possibly grew up without a dad, who his whatever uncles he do have, they're not in the greatest financial position.
And they're not in his life.
And they're not even in his life. But when marriage time shows up, they don't want to be embarrassed. So they go to the young man, hey, yo, so young son, how are you going to cough up these cows? Because you ain't going to make us look bad in front of the other family. So then it becomes about their pride and not the young man's health and not the health of his marriage. So then I literally have seen ads on the internet and on the news by banks offering loans, telling you to make your family proud. That's the devil. That's
wrong.
wicked.
That's
wicked. Like make your family proud.
Yeah.
Get this loan. Go into debt just so that your uncles who don't care about you can look good. And just so the uncles that didn't even raise her can cash in.
Yeah.
And then you start your future marriage in debt.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So the thing is, like, sadly, we have created a culture where our own children have to pay a price for their future.
Ooh.
And then they're giving their hard-earned money to the previous generation that didn't even financially handle their business well.
Yeah.
See, for me, And again, this was not an American thing. This was not an Australian thing. This was a God thing.
Yeah.
My wife's family and my family came together and they blessed us. My family paid for the honeymoon. Her family paid for the wedding. Ooh. Family and friends got around us. By the time we got home from our honeymoon, everything was paid. We were totally debt-free. We had money in the bank. We had furniture. We had stuff. And we were able to start our life. We were blessed when we started.
Ooh.
That's not culture. That's the kingdom of God.
Come on.
And we've got to get back to that. So my thing is fine. If you want to do the cultural token and kind of have the experience, fine. But elders, y'all need to pay for it. Y'all the ones who want it so bad. Yeah. So y'all pay for it. Don't make your kids pay for it. Because then what is this? I mean, hear me. I was at a conference in 2017. And I was praying and I was crying. I was on my knees and I was crying out to God. And I was like, God, how do we beat this AIDS epidemic in Botswana? How do we really get to the heart of this thing? And God told me it's not going to be through sex education and free condoms and ARVs and all this kind of stuff. It's going to be by changing the way the nation looks at marriage and by changing the accessibility to marriage. The moment we can make marriage seem more desirable and more accessible and more beneficial than just sleeping with a chick, that's when we can win. And only God's going to be able to do that.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, we have made marriage so difficult and so hard that young people are exhausted just at the thought of it.
Yeah.
So they say, listen, let's just go have sex. Because the last thing, and here's the sad thing. Elders would rather you move in and sleep with your boyfriend or girlfriend than get married and not do it the cultural way.
That's true.
I had a couple in our church. The parents said, just move in together. You guys are too young.
That don't make no sense.
Christians said that to their kids.
That makes
you
no
guys
sense.
aren't ready for marriage. Just move in together. And this couple experienced death threats by the daughter's father because they said, we're going to get married and we're going to do it God's way. And we love y'all, but we're not going to do what you guys ask us to do. We're not paying cows. We're not doing none of that. We got enough money to live, pay rent, have a car, and live our life. We don't got enough money to cash in all you elders. We're sorry. We're going to do it God's way. And their family disowned them and did all this kind of stuff. Cool thing is, 6 years into their marriage, their family apologized. All the dads or everybody's good. They had to pay a price for that. You see what I'm saying? So sadly, this generation in Botswana is going to be the pay a price generation that has to say we want to do the kingdom of God's way instead of the culture's way.
Yeah.
But we will see better marriages. I'm telling you, brother, if you got to cough up $20K, cough that up into a business.
Where am I getting that $20K from in the first place?
Invest that, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Put that into your future. So there's one family I know of, and there's a few different families I met that have said something. Actually, I think this is really beautiful.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? What we're going to do is we're going to charge the cows, but then we're going to take the money and put it in an interest-bearing savings account and give it back to the kids at their 1-year anniversary to actually help them start a saving. I think that's a beautiful thing. If you're actually going to do that, then hey, by all means, you get what I'm saying. But we've got to get selflessness back into our culture.
Yeah.
Our kids are killing themselves because they're trying to impress mom and dad.
I'm glad you cleared that up because I actually didn't know the backstory about that incident. Now that you've cleared that up, it makes way more sense now than how it was being.
Yeah, what happened? What'd you hear?
Dude, every time you get on Twitter, it was always like, this guy hates the culture. This guy is saying, Lobola is evil, Buhari is evil, it must be abolished. That's how it was being portrayed, like you were literally attacking the culture. Mm-hmm. The context of what was actually going on was never...
Yeah,
I will definitely say your views were being misrepresented.
Yeah.
And I'm happy you've cleared that up.
Yeah, because now that I actually know the whole story, it makes way more sense now than it did the way it was being presented.
A lot of things do when you actually allow people to speak.
Here's what people need to realize.
That's actually true.
No, check this out. Greed and pride has attacked and destroyed the culture.
I won't argue with that. That's
you
true.
See what I'm saying? Like, what it is now is actually a perversion of what it was intended for. Like, even, I forget what her name is, but she's a professor at University of Botswana. She even said this concept of Lobola, as it is now, is one of the #1 contributors to gender-based violence.
Okay.
What?
I like that correlation.
Because if you feel like you paid for her, you own her.
Property.
And so you treat her as a possession and not a person.
Right.
Nah.
Yes. I'm gonna find it for you. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find the quote for you.
You
Yeah.
I'd like to add on to that one as well. Talking about Lobola and the fact that it has financial implications.
Just try to get your mic up to your. Yeah. Maybe not as close, but yeah, you got it.
Talking about Lobola and the financial implications at the beginning of a marriage, and you get into such heavy debt.
Exactly.
And one of the major things in marriage is finances.
Yeah.
And it's actually the leading cause of divorces.
It
so
is.
so it means that in order to solve the whole marriage conundrum and all the complexities that marriage brings, we need to deal with financial implications of everything. So from Lobola to how that plays out into the finances of the couple after that.
Exactly.
I think we need to look into all of that.
It is true. Listen, when I counsel couples, money and sex,
Yeah.
two of the biggest
Recurring
things
issues.
in marriages.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Listen to this. So this is a quote. Dr. Situnya Mosimi, senior sociology lecturer at the University of Botswana, says,
I've actually met her.
so watch this. Watch this.
I've met her.
While customarily it is perceived as a token of appreciation, it is now a paradoxical token whereby you are charged what you should give as a gift. Therefore, it's not a gift, but a charge account. Due to local economic challenges, the bride price has become a money-making venture for some families, distorting the original significance and importance of the tradition. The practice of bride price is now demanded by families and fiercely negotiated. It has reduced young women to commodities and has made families see their daughters as a source of income. Some men believe that the high charges that some parents demand during Bohadi negotiations entitles them to own their wives. You know, and there was a whole nother portion in there where it's like it's become a thing where he watch this. A House of Chiefs in June 2012, all the Dikosi got together and unanimously agreed that Bohadi should be regulated and standardized, but it never happened. They complained the high bride price required of men has led to a high prevalence of cohabitation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I see
And
that.
it's they even said it like it's
That's an issue that's actually happening.
yeah, watch this. Here's Gender Links and the Ministry of Labor and Home Affairs and the Women's Affairs Department study. Gender-based violence indicators in Botswana revealed that 21% of women and 38% of men agree that if a man has paid a bride price for his wife, she must have sex when he wants it. And another study reported on gender-based violence conducted by the Women's Shelter established a link between Bohadi and gender-based violence. Because men pay a bride price to the wife's parents, they get the feeling that they have bought the woman and therefore tend to mistreat them and think that the women have no right to refuse sex or do anything. So there's a belief that marriage is all about sex, and if the woman says no to his advances, then she has wronged him and should be punished.
And this is coming from the sociology department here at University of Botswana.
This is
It's coming from
Botswana.
research.
This is facts that everything I just read you
Yeah.
is straight from the internet, and it's been verified. And this is like firsthand accounts. The Dikosi, sociology professor, the Department of Home Affairs, like this is real stuff, and people want to act like it's some cute little cultural thing. So my thing is, yes, if you could bring humility and honor and grace and selflessness back to it, then by all means, go for it.
Yeah.
But
Blake-
as it is now,
Blake Young, our time is up.
Yes.
You have been amazing. Thank you so much for being here. You've been on the 4skins podcast. How do you feel?
Hashtag vows over cows, y'all. Anyway, but no, it's good.
Vows over cows.
Yes, yeah.
Hashtag.
I'm good. It's
I
amazing.
think that's one of the ones I saw actually. I think I
It's
did.
amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. No, it's
Hashtag
amazing.
vows over cows.
No, thank you
Yeah,
guys for having
I'm
me.
glad
Thank
you've
you guys.
actually been able to clear this up
Yeah.
because now at least there's some actual context to
Yeah.
the
I
situation.
hope it helps. I hope it helps
It
somebody.
helped a lot, but
Everyone should just tag this video
Yeah.
every time this issue of Bohadi comes up.
Yeah, yeah.
Just tag the 4skins podcast video
Yes,
with Blake Young, and all your questions, are going to be answered.
yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you so much.
I was
My
not
brother.
even done
I
with you.
love it.
I had so many questions for you.
Man, I hope you're gonna come back. Are you gonna come back?
Hey, if you guys will have me back, let's do it.
Now, of
definitely
course, we're gonna
come
have you back.
Yeah.
It's been a good one.
We need to discuss how overrated LeBron is too.
Oh my God.
That-
Hey, listen, I'm not gonna disagree with you. I was a Kobe fan, so
Kobe.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
Kobe
yeah.
is my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the 4skins podcast, everybody. Thank you so much. Woo! Thank you.